Welcome to Malpractice Podcast.
Are you ready to get started?
I'm so ready to get started.
I am also ready.
I like your shirt.
Thank you. I like your face. This is Malpractice Podcast,
Where we talk about shirts. My name's Jess.
We talk about many things. I'm Sydney, and I'm the one whose voice is scratchy about 40% of the time.
Doesn't sound bad, though. It really doesn't.
Okay. Thank you. Honestly, we started recording and I was like, I'm going to get annoyed when I do the editing. I'm going to get annoyed at my own voice because it's scratchy.
No.
So
It just sounds like you were at a party.
I was at a party. So my brother-in-law got married this weekend. Congrats to Thor and Sochi. His name is Thor. Before anyone asks, that's 100% his real name. And also, they did not have a wedding coordinator to speak of.
Oh.
They did not know. So they had their wedding was in Denver. We live in Texas. We got to the venue the day before, and they were like, yeah, we don't have a coordinator. Like, we don't have a day of coordinator. And the bride was like, they didn't tell me that, so I didn't make arrangements for it. And I was like, you know what? I've been to enough weddings. I think I can manage. So I basically acted as like the day of coordinator, which is why my voice...
Aw, hell no.
Well, the reason that my voice is scratchy is because I was yelling at everyone, like in a good way, like fun yelling.
I would have been angry yelling at everyone.
I know, but honestly, you know I love to take control of a situation.
I do know.
I have never been to a wedding that didn't have a coordinator and not been like, it's me.
I'm the coordinator.
I'm the one. I'm the coordinator here. I think I missed my calling, I'm not going to lie.
No, you didn't. You're in a PhD program for
Okay.
brain science.
Thank you. But that's my backup plan.
We all have to have one, I guess.
How was your grandpa visit? Your visit with your grandpa?
It was good. He's 96, so he's like appropriately rude, at 96.
Yes.
I will also be rude.
If you make it to 96, you do whatever you want to do.
Correct.
That's how I feel.
He's like a good amount of funny too. So he's like so funny, and they'll be like, "Oh, how was your dinner?" And he's like, "So." And they'll have like prepared it.
Just throwing shade with no regards.
It's so funny. I really
love that.
Love him. He's a good time. So I flew up with my dad to see him because since my grandmother passed away, we just, I don't know, it's like nerve-wracking kind of. So we went up and it's good to see him, and he's so...
Yeah, but he's also he's like the single most adorable person.
Oh, he's so cute. Let me show you this pic.
He's so precious. And he has red hair, so we have a special connection.
Yeah, he is a redhead.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Little grandpa.
I love that. I'm so glad you got to see him.
Me too.
Good.
Everyone should know it's almost Sydney's birthday.
It's true. Eric said to me something about how this was my last week in my 20s. And I was like, the disrespect of you to say that to me.
Of you. Why would he say that
the
to you?
Audacity. Who has it?
That is so rude.
I felt that way. And he was like, I mean, it's factually accurate.
Okay, and?
I was like, that doesn't mean you have to say it to me.
Nope.
If you have a friend with big feet, you're not like, oh, you have big feet. You're like, oh, no, your feet are fine. They're dainty. You lie to people.
That's like some rude shit like middle school boys would say.
You lie to people because you care about them.
Correct.
If you're tuning in for the first time, sometimes you lie to people. That's the name of this podcast.
100%. 100%. Eric, are you listening?
If your significant other is like, does this make me look fat? You never say yes. Never. Michelle, would Michelle want to know? She would want to know.
100% Michelle would be like, tell me.
I say that because I'm fishing for a compliment. If I say, do I look bad? I want you to go, oh my God, no, you're so skinny and beautiful.
Nah, Michelle wants the real deal. Spiel. I don't know.
That sounds like Michelle.
She's not.
What do you want?
I won't ask. I actually want feedback on that. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Have a good day.
Positive feedback only is my vibe, but I also need constant positive reinforcement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Eric should know this. Like,
He
this
knows.
should not have been a surprise. Why did he say that to you?
We've been dating
Eric,
for a really long time, and we've been married for almost 4 years. So
Eric, you done fucked up.
I feel like this is the last week of your 20s. I was like, it's a harsh reality that I wasn't ready for.
First of all, I'm 28 to 32.
I'm in that range, and I don't want to discuss specifics.
Oh my gosh. I'm getting my
Do you know what I mean?
I'm getting my boosty shot tomorrow.
You're going to feel like crap the next day, because I definitely felt like crap. Also, if you're eligible for a booster shot and you haven't gotten it yet, go get it.
Get your boosty.
Get boosted. I will say I did my flu shot at the same time. I highly recommend you get a flu shot, but maybe not at the same time.
Yeah, I'm thinking about not getting that.
Or get them in other arms. Like, get them in different arms.
No way. I won't be able to do shit.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be like this. Oh, I forgot. People can't watch. I'm slowly moving my arm with my other arm across the screen.
She's pulling her arm with her other arm. Like when your arm falls asleep when you're sleeping. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
You like lay on your arm weird while you're sleeping, and then you
Yeah,
wake
I
up
do
the
that
next
all the
morning
time.
and you have to move it with your other arm because you're like, it literally is not
I
functional.
I'm a little stressed, but I have to get the boosty.
It's the right move. Also, the reason I get my flu shot every year is because one year I had the flu and I legitimately thought I was going to die.
Yeah, because we believe in science here.
Right. We believe in science. We believe in the flu for sure. It kills like 400 to 600,000 people every year.
Period.
You should get a flu shot.
Do you have any birthday plans?
I don't know what my plans are. Allegedly, we have a plan. I don't know what it is.
That's exciting.
You know about it, I think.
I know.
So I guess we'll get back to you next week with potential birthday plans.
Yes.
Do
And
you want to
then
get started?
I'm so ready.
I'm so ready for this story, though, because when you said it was like a happy story, I was going back and I was like, it's been a long time
Yeah.
since we've done a happy, uplifting story, because it's so easy to get into the weeds on the bad ones.
Because it's all bad. And it's called malpractice. Like, we knew what we were getting into.
Tis.
But it is hard to, like, feel inspired.
Sometimes it is, yeah. Sometimes you got to go on a tangent with a happy episode, and so I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm super excited too. So this episode, I want to share a profile about an amazing woman who paved the way for a representation in neurosurgery, becoming the first African American to become a board-certified neurosurgeon and the first African American woman to become a neurosurgeon. Her name is Dr. Alexa Irene Canady-Davis, and we love a hyphenation. Shout out.
We do.
Shout out there. She's the first Black woman in the U.S. to become a neurosurgeon. So, like, round of applause for
Snaps.
her. She's an icon. Yeah, I can't wait to bring this information and highlight her experience and her story to everyone. I want to note that I linked all my sources as always, and there is actually a speaking engagement included, a YouTube video.
Oh, cool.
That she gave at Rosalind Franklin University, and I linked that as well in the notes. So if you want to see and hear her specifically speaking about her experience, you can definitely do that.
I absolutely love that. I want to start by saying hell yes to this episode entirely.
Yeah.
You know, we do a lot of episodes about people alive a long time ago, and it's hard to get their take on the situation. But I love that she gave a speaking engagement, and I love that she gave it at Rosalind Franklin University, who is another female scientist that we need to do an episode on.
No, yeah. She's really cool. Like, just
Cool.
straight out the bag. I'm going to get into her story. So,
Yay.
she was born in Lansing, Michigan. A special shout out to Michigan. That's where my dad's family's from. I actually know, like, exactly where Lansing is. So,
Okay.
it's like a relatively smallish town. So, her parents were Elizabeth Hortense Golden Canady and Dr. Clinton Canady Jr. Her father was a dentist. They met at Fisk University. They got married on her mom's 18th birthday right before her father served in World War II. So shout out to him for serving our country.
Aww.
Her parents were extremely driven and taught her the importance of education and hard work, which pushed her to graduate from high school with honors and continue, obviously, like, pursuing higher education as well. She says of her parents that her father was extremely old school and didn't want her mother to make money. Like, she said that he said,
Oof.
you can do anything as long as you don't make money.
Yeah.
So her mother did everything. She was like, okay.
Okay.
She was on the United Negro College Fund, the Community Chess Board, ended up on the National Board of the YMCA, and even bank boards as well.
Yeah.
Eventually, she did make money because she ran the fund for a community college in the area and was the first person to raise over $1 million
Oh my gosh.
in that position. Yeah, so basically, she was like, anyway, I'm going to do what I want, and began to do whatever she wanted.
I mean, I feel like that attitude is dying, but I've never understood the attitude, you're the woman, so you shouldn't make money. It's like, do you hate money? Do you not like money? You don't enjoy it?
It's interesting because he didn't feel that way about his daughter.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, maybe there's like more to that story, right? But
well, and maybe the mom changed his mind too. Like when she started doing all this stuff and making all these changes.
I think she was just like, I'll just do literally whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah. But also like when she made all these changes and she's like helping the community, maybe it changed his mind. I don't know. Anyway.
Maybe. Her maternal grandmother was a professor at an HBCU in Jackson, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
And her grandfather was a pharmacist. So she says education was an expectation.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a choice, really, in her home. She was born November 7th in 1950, which makes her a Scorpio. So, like, I don't know why. I was like, what are the characteristics of a Scorpio? I went down the rabbit hole. But this makes her like passionate, independent, unafraid to blaze a trail. All of these ring true. Apparently, this is the sign that won't back down and makes a statement wherever they go. They say exactly what's on their mind while also being incredibly empathetic. Like that's like a great combination, right, for a neurosurgeon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, specifically she gets into pediatric neurosurgery. So like it's really great combination and kind of characteristic profile for
Totally. And
her.
also, can I just say that pediatric neurosurgery has literally, I think, the longest education pathway that you can almost possibly take unless you just start adding degrees up for no reason.
Add up degrees.
Like, that's crazy. Yeah.
So she's one of 4. Canady and her brothers were raised outside of Lansing, Michigan. When she and her brothers entered kindergarten, so every time whoever was entering kindergarten, they got an alarm clock from their parents.
Yeah.
And they were told, like, this is your alarm clock. This is how you use it. You get yourself up and you get yourself ready for school, because her parents said that it didn't help them at all if you went to school. It only helped you. So, like, the school doesn't benefit the parents, so why should I get you ready? You get yourself ready at kindergarten age. So
that's so interesting.
That's what they did.
I can't tell if I love that or I'm like, if I did that, I would raise a feral child.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but she said they all did it. Like, you entered kindergarten, you got your alarm clock. That's the business. You handled
Honestly, it's kind of great. If my parents had done that to me, I just would have been a truant all the time. I never would have been at school because I would have been like, sorry.
You would have been a horse girl.
Sorry, I'm not going there.
So after she completed kindergarten, her family moved from the Black neighborhood. It was obviously segregated, right, in this time period. Yeah. Arguably now, we won't get into that. To an area where they could build a new home because the county wouldn't allow the owner of that specific land to build a gas station on it. So he was selling it as a housing development.
Okay.
Because of this move, they ended up in a rural, all-white school district where her brother and she became the only African-American students at that school.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So they obviously faced obstacles and unbelievable intrinsic racism. It's internalized and part of the social stigmas. She mentions there was tons of name calling, which actually she said never really bothered her much. But there was like a bit of specific drama that she does like speak about.
Yeah.
She stood out academically. She was a genius, arguably, and like was scoring really great on all her standardized exams.
Look at her like family history. Of course she is.
She's a brilliant angel child, correct?
Sure.
But when she was in 2nd grade, her teacher took her standardized scores because they were so high and actually assigned them to a different classmate who was white. So basically switched their test scores on these standardized exams. And through a process of like checks and balances, the school realized what had happened and fired the educator obviously.
Good.
And because of her scores, she was promoted to the 4th grade from the 2nd
Oh, wow.
grade.
That's crazy.
Because she was so freaking smart. She skipped 3rd grade altogether.
They're like, yeah, you don't need 3rd grade.
Yeah. Well, she said her mom was like, yeah, I can teach her multiplication tables in the summer. Like, she doesn't need 3rd grade.
Wow, that's crazy.
So she skipped up to 4th grade.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Honestly, that's so cool. But it's like, that would be kind of scary because there's a big age gap. Did she do okay in the 4th grade?
I think she was just like super excited. Yeah, she thrived. She said she remembers one specific friend, Steve Waterbury, who is still her friend today, that she made in 4th grade. Something about her and like watching her and listening to her speak is that she remembers people's names. And she remembers stories specifically from the people who helped shape her. So she, in the speech engagement, was like, oh, yeah, my friend Steve, like, I'm still friends with him today. Like, I don't know. It's just, like, very endearing. You really, like, grab onto that kind of personality of, giving recognition where it's due, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
She loves school. She loved learning. Look at her thriving, skipping grades. Couldn't be me.
Yeah.
I needed all the grades at the correct time.
No, same. I feel like we were both smart, but I feel like I developmentally needed as much time in those. Like, I needed the time that I spent there. That's hard, like, socially.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you know me, right? I, like, just stopped maturing, like, yesterday. So, like, I was not ready to skip any grades. A girl was not cute. Your girl
same.
Was a struggle.
Can I mention a tangent really quickly now that you mentioned that?
Sure.
Because I feel
that's actually what the point of our podcast is.
Welcome.
Like just...
Welcome to Tangent City. We're your mayors.
Mayors.
Co-mayors. 2 mayors. Why are these children on TikTok who are like 13 not going through awkward phases?
I don't know.
They're skipping
makeup,
their awkward phase, and I'm like, that's what gives you personality and character.
It's disrespectful.
Right?
They probably already have Botox. It's upsetting to me.
First of all, if you don't have lipstick on your teeth...
I had it on my teeth this morning.
Same.
I'm not kidding.
I literally cannot stop thinking about the fact... I think in the 8th grade, I wore maybe 7th grade, I wore like one tie-dye t-shirt for almost an entire year. Like, I was like, this is my shirt. I don't want other shirts.
Sydney, there is a year in middle school where every single photo of me in the yearbook, I'm wearing the same sweatshirt.
Oh, yeah.
Every photo. And it was not a cute sweatshirt.
No. Oh, I had one exactly the same. I called it Big Red, and when my mom threw it out, I threw a fit. I don't think I ate for like 3 days. I was on a hunger strike. I was like, find me another sweatshirt. And these kids these days are just skipping it. I'm like, they're going to have no personality when they're older because being unattractive is how you build a good personality.
100%. 100%.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying it. Like, that's how I feel.
I mean, I might feel that way just because I was very strange looking for a good portion of my life. But, like, I stand by it.
I literally don't think I had hair until I was 4 years old. And as a result, I'm hilarious.
Honestly, I had...
Okay, back to the story. So she loves school. She's thriving. She's not awkward. Go on.
Okay, so she loves school. She was thriving. And she was super competitive and very math focused. And she speaks about this story where she was concerned because her small town couldn't compete with the schools in Detroit because those schools had calculus in high school and she didn't have access to it. So she convinced her school and her mom to allow her to take Algebra 2 as like an independent study. So she and a friend, Tom McKinnon, took calculus as part of their high school courses at the community college in their area.
In a time when that was like not normal, right?
No, they were like the first ones to do it.
Oh, that's crazy.
We do now all the time.
Sure.
We have high school students taking college level courses. It's like dual credit or AP. At the time, it didn't happen.
Wow.
So it was like them. And that was because she and her friend wanted to do it and looked it up.
That's amazing.
Tom went on to MIT and became a I don't know how to say that.
Physiologist.
He went to MIT and I was like, oh, Tom is smart.
He does neuro. Just say neuro.
He's a neuro guy.
Guy.
That's him.
Also, find friends who help you excel.
Period.
Like, look at them together.
We were going
Just
to
working.
Sonic after soccer practice. Tom was encouraging her to take calculus.
That is accurate.
But if you had told me to take calculus, I would have been like, shut the hell up. I will not.
I think I did take calculus, and I think I fell asleep during one of the exams.
Dude,
And that's
I knew
that's the story of me in math.
I was in pre-calculus, which is disrespectful to have a class preparing you for a different class. And I was like, what in God's name are we talking about?
There are too many letters in these numbers, and I am not comfortable.
I don't need to be here right now. I know my strengths. It's not this.
Okay, keep going.
So Canady was nominated as a National Achievement Scholar in 1967. Fun fact, all of her brothers are lawyers.
Huh.
One of her stories is that her younger brother looked at her life and looked at the other brother's life and was like, he has a better life than you, so I'm going to go to law school. I don't want to be a surgeon. That looks very stressful.
That's so funny. Also, probably accurate.
Yeah, literally. So she graduated from high school in 1967 and then went on to attend University of Michigan. Oh, she eventually graduated with a bachelor's in zoology.
Yeah.
At first, she went in as a math major, and she graduated in 1971 and got her MD cum laude in 1975. So a genius.
Yeah, no kidding.
She was in debate at the University of Michigan, and she worked at the school newspaper as well.
Mm-hmm.
However, she did discover she did not want to get a degree in math.
Same.
And that caused her to have like a bit of like a mental shutdown.
Yeah.
She didn't go to class. She ended up actually on academic probation.
Oh, wow.
During her time at her like pursuing her bachelor's. And she went downhill. She was like coming from being the smartest person in the room to like really struggling. She was not attending classes, so therefore she was not doing well. And during that time, her dad would come and once a week to have dinner with her, and he never talked about her studies, but she says that his consistency like really did help kind of ground her and at least knowing that he would like be there.
Yeah.
She ended up changing her major to zoology because the credits transferred well from math.
Okay.
All the math credits counted. Yeah. She said, "Do not ask me about zoology. I do not know anything about zoology."
That's so funny. And also, I'm glad you included this part because I feel like it's so important sometimes to hear that, like, even the most successful people, the brightest people, like, they struggle. Like, everybody struggles.
She didn't wait for someone to ask this question. In her presentation, she included this section about failure, about being lost, about thinking you were good at something and then realizing you don't want to do that thing anymore, right? So I liked that about her, that she's offering up this example.
So I went from being an honor student to academic probation in 2 years. So I was really lost, and I think that it's not that unusual for people to have a period when they're lost. And I think you need to know that, because if you have one, it doesn't mean you can't recover. It just means you're lost for now.
It's amazing. And she overcame it.
Correct. Big time. So the summer of her junior year, she wanted to buy a car. She got a job working as the editorial page editor for the Michigan Daily, and her brother mentioned to her there was this health scholarship program that paid the same amount as the editorial, and it was at different times so she could do both and therefore get her car faster, right? That was her mindset.
Okay.
This program got her interested in medicine. She began working at Art Loom's lab. He was a geneticist and a pediatrician. She loved working there. She loved clinicals. She loved genetic counseling and testing. She kept working through her senior year. And she said that summer she got a car and a calling. So she was like, I know what I want to do.
I love that.
So she's like, okay, I want to go to medical school, obviously. But I have this weird thing in my past called academic probation. And like not everybody likes academic probation on your... And by not everybody, I mean nobody, on your experience, like as you're trying to apply for medical school. However, one of the deans of the med school read her editorials, like every time the newspaper put something out. And she had that debate history. So that combo like helped her get in because they were like, oh, there's something about her. And her MCAT scores were really good.
She's so clearly special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her MCAT. I mean, she's obviously skipped 3rd grade, like put her in med school, right? So
Yeah. I want her to be my doctor for sure.
yeah, no, I absolutely.
I don't want none of these 3rd grade takers being my doctor.
Nope. If I was in 3rd grade and you were in 3rd grade, you can't be my doctor.
You can't be my doctor.
We might be the same amount of smart. I need someone smarter than me.
Same.
So she gets into med school. Her time in med school, she said it was fun. Like her peers, everyone she said around her was like super tired and stressed because they'd been working forever to get in. And she felt like reinvigorated because she was like, oh, I just discovered my passion. Like, I'm so excited to be here. I'm ready to absorb.
Yeah.
It sparked joy where everyone else was like exhausted from studying and like being the top of their class. She comes from zoology.
Yeah.
She's like, I was ready. I was having a good time. And everybody else was like, I hate this place. And she was like, oh, it's amazing here.
She's just there vibing.
Yeah. So she was in all the activities, immersed herself in the lessons. She graduated with honors, as I said. Her favorite class was neurobehavioral sciences, which was like an interdisciplinary class that combined all of the neurospaces.
Yeah.
And she was training to figure out if she wanted to be a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. She had a friend who knew a pediatric neurologist who she could follow around for a month. And she did that. And then her father's friend set up time with her to be with like a neurosurgeon. So she did that too.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That was when she was like, oh, I want to be a neurosurgeon.
Oh, because her dad is a dentist, right?
Yeah.
So he has like connections. Okay.
So she called herself like a neurosurgery groupie at that point. She had really good grades now, and she was so excited. However, the chair of the department didn't like her very much.
Yeah.
And had her interview for this position like 3 times. One was like even really close to Christmas. I want to say it was like the day before or Christmas Eve. And he told her how many people he had personally washed out of that program.
That's aggressive.
Right. And she was like, I was worried because I was a Black woman and that any practice opportunities would be limited to her.
Yeah, not unfair. Especially after that kind of interaction with the dean of the program.
Yep.
Or the chair of the department, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like hazing, right? Like he's hazing her, basically.
I mean, it's like racism, right?
Right.
It's just like big trash.
Yeah, it's not good.
Big trash energy.
Garbage.
So a quote from her says, convincing the neurosurgery chairman that I was not a risk to drop out or be fired, a disaster in a program where there were only 1 or 2 residents per year was one of my hardest obstacles. I was the first African-American woman in the department. Along with that, my other greatest obstacle was convincing myself that someone would give me a chance to work as a neurosurgeon. So she didn't give up. She completed an internship in the neurospace at Yale.
Wow.
New Haven Hospital. So she was like, they didn't want me in Michigan, so I went to Yale.
Wow.
And she went there from 1975 to 1976 under Dr. William F. Collins. She was a top student, but was both the first Black and the first Black female intern in the program.
Wow.
So she faced prejudice. There's like mentions of moments of being called the equal opportunity package.
Oof.
You know, things that aren't surprising but aren't great to hear. And they're like hateful and full of racism.
Got it. Okay.
So she's at Yale for a month and she gets a call from Shelley Shue, who's the chairman of the University of Minnesota. This made her pause because like back then you didn't match for a specific program. You just took an internship and then you'd be selected for a residency, but you like had no idea where you would be or like what department you would be or anything before that.
Okay.
So they were offering her a neurosurgery spot. And she had actually ruled Minnesota out because they had something about like you had to be practicing in like general surgery for like a certain amount of years or something.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, I don't want to do that. And like other programs only made you do those rotations for like a year. And this one maybe did like 2, I think. And she was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that.
Right. Fair.
So she was like, okay, well, this is, and the Shelley Shue was like, no, we'll waive that for you, basically.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, oh, so she went to the chair at Yale and asked, can I hear if I've matched here? Like, can you tell me if I've matched here before they're released? I have this offer from Minnesota. If you tell me if I got this residency, like, I won't go.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, that's not the way things are going to go. And she was like, okay, well, I'm leaving then.
Right.
And I'm going to go here.
Yale, because it's an Ivy League, I'm sure they're like, well, you're not special. We're not giving you like special whatever, you know, being a little snooty.
So
And Minnesota's like, what's up, girl? Come on.
Yeah, I think it's also like, this is the way things have always been, and we're not going to go out of our way just because you're you.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing. But before she left Yale, he made sure that they taught her all of her first procedures so that they would always have a part in her educational journey. So they were like, I can't tell you, but I'm going to make sure you know stuff before you leave Yale, before you go here.
Oh, that's actually nice.
I think it was like a good kind of moment in her life that they encouraged her, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
She trained as a resident in neurosurgery at the University of Minnesota between 1976 and 1981, where she was also the first African-American woman in a neurosurgery residency in the United States.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. She had so much fun, she said. She's like thrilled to be wherever she is. I love her energy. Until her senior year, because there was a staffing shortage basically where a resident the year ahead of her was let go, and there was this weird timeline where she was going to have to be labeled like a junior resident and not like a resident. And she told the chair like she wouldn't accept that title.
So when the schedule came out for my senior year, I was going to be the junior resident on the university service for 6 months. So I went in to the chairman and said I wasn't going to do it. That was interestingly received. So he said, well, let's go have lunch. So he took me to lunch at the student union one Saturday. It was probably the most interesting luncheon of my life. He asked me why I felt this way. And I explained, that the perception of the community, the hospital community, would be that I was somehow deficient. And I clearly wasn't deficient. And that I wasn't, as a black woman, going to send that message that I was somehow deficient. Being a junior resident in my senior year.
So she said, look, if you give me an intern at the night shift that needed the filling, and then in the day I can do the neuro and pediatric neurology and neuropsychology. So basically she's like, I'll work both if you give me an intern, because like I can't do everything, but if you do that, then I can move forward. I can have the title I need, and I can also learn.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, sounds great. And that's like apparently...
That sounds terrible, though.
I mean, she was thrilled to be there, so she sounded like she was having a bopping good time.
Yeah, she sounds like she's having a bopping good time. I sound like I would be...
Not.
Dying. I would be emotionally dying if I had to do that, I think.
I don't know. It sounds terrible.
It sounds like a lot, yeah.
Sounds terrible. I can't even read these words. So after she had that, she got a fellowship in pediatric surgery at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia for a couple years, where she was voted one of the top residents.
Of course she was. She is.
And then she went back to Michigan and started in the neurosurgery department at Detroit's Henry Ford Hospital. In 1983, she went to the Children's Hospital of Michigan, where she grew to become the chief of surgery.
Wow.
And she served in that position from 1987 to 2001. And she was also the acting chair of the Department of Neurosurgery at one point. So, like, complete shout out to her.
Literally, she's just killing it everywhere she goes.
So, in 1981, she became the country's first woman African-American neurosurgeon. And in 1984, she became the first African-American certified neurosurgeon by the American Board of Neurological Surgery.
That's crazy.
She's the coolest person. She specializes in craniofacial abnormalities, hydrocephalus, tumors on the brain, and congenital spine abnormalities.
That's crazy.
Basically saves the day in all the ways, right? And specifically for children.
Yeah.
She said of her choice in pediatric neuro, most of the time you can save the day and you can help them. For those you can't, the few that you can't, you help their parents, and you can take care of the issue. You take care of the issue if you can, and if you can't, you manage the process. You tell them what's coming. You try and work on the marriage, because that can also die. So she's like really invested in patient care. She has like top scores for patient care, including like the families. She says if you deal with all these issues up front, you can usually save something.
Yeah.
And when working in this space, you become family. She said that's her favorite part of what she does, is that you become part of their family. You meet everyone in their family, and you know who they are and all the details.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't she so cool?
I wonder if, knock on wood, God forbid, if a child I know ever needs neurosurgery, I want her to do it.
Florida. That's where she is now.
I'll go to Florida. You think I'm joking?
Right. In addition to her other responsibilities like saving lives, she conducted research and taught as the Peter Schultanus Professor of Neurosurgery.
No idea.
Professor of Neurosurgery at Wayne State University. She also held a professorship at Florida State University. And she said over time as the chief that she didn't realize at first the impact that would have on the future. She says, I just want the healthcare system to understand that its real job is to improve the health of the community in total. In order to do that, they need to represent the community.
Yeah, of course.
Don't you love?
I love it.
She and her husband eventually retired and moved to Pensacola, Florida in 2001. They had lived there during his career in the Navy, so that felt like home. But after she was retired for a minute, she felt called back into surgery when she discovered that there was no pediatric neurosurgeons in the area.
Of course she did.
Lived. Of course. So she started as a consultant and then eventually a part-time surgical practice at the Sacred Heart Medical Group Hospital. She's received so many professional recognitions, including but not limited to Women of the Year by the Women's Medical Association in 1993 and Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. I also want to mention that she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which is a not-for-profit internationally recognized sorority.
Oh, wow.
Her mom was actually the national president of the sorority at one point, so we love that. She obviously still works hard and actually mentors young people in high schools in her spare time.
No way.
I know. She's described as caring and patient-focused. She's incredible. She's a builder, and she's used her influence to make a difference. So I was really excited to bring that profile for you, and that's what I know about that.
Oh, my God. I love that.
Don't you love her?
Yeah, we love Dr. Alexa Canady-Davis. That's our new favorite person in the world.
I know. I'm obsessed with her. Check out the video and the links. I mean, she's really impressive.
I'm going to go learn everything I can about her, and I'm also going to send her an email and be like, we did an episode about you because we love you.
She's amazing.
So, Dr. Canady-Davis, if you're listening to this, we love you. Keep killing it.
Yeah. Did you like it?
What a beautiful story. I love it. I love it. You did a great job, and I love her.
I love her, too.
You made me feel like I really want to meet her now.
So if you have any recommendations on profiles like this that we can kind of mix things up every so often and really highlight someone who's doing good things and like change the world, please send those in to our social media or email us, malpracticepodcast@gmail.com. We really do take those recos into consideration and we'll incorporate them. But this is like an example of sometimes medical history is cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't suck.
Sometimes we do a happy story. Not everything is depressing.
Yeah. So that's her.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check our channel out on YouTube. It's popping off. The comment section is always popping off.
Oh, no. Yikes.
And don't forget,
malpractice
makes perfect. I love it.
Put a step in front of the other every day and take what comes. You can't worry about everything. You don't know what's coming. I mean, I didn't know what was going to come my way. But be prepared to deal with it. You just say, if this is what I want, and I'll deal with it as it comes, but I'm not going to worry about it. And love what you do. The best defense for anything is doing a good job. I used to tell my residents, if you do a good job, it all works out.